Hello there, Reverend Michael McMorrow coming to you from the sanctuary at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Granada Hills is in the North San Fernando Valley, and I'm happy to say that we've had hail and rain and just a beautiful dousing. So the air will be clear, and I'm looking forward to the morning when it will be nice and clear. See what our mountains look like. Maybe they got some snow. So I'm delighted to have you with me, and so we're going to. So if you're here for our healing and revealing meditation service. But we're starting this thing that we started in January, where we're just going to warm up the trunk, not the trunk in the back. With the junk in the trunk. But no, we're just going to warm up the trunk right here. Of course, which is where my junk is. Not in the back, unfortunately. Yeah. So we're just warming it up. And, we can bring a little mirth to our meditation tonight, right? You might even feel yourself getting a little warm. This is one of those, I think it was Reverend Elizabeth who was doing this tapping class. I think that's where I got this from. Just loosens everything up nicely. And now we're going to. So if you're seated at home for your meditation, then let's just do a couple of forward bends together. Just kind of scooch out on your chair a little bit. Just make sure you're safe. All right, let's just take a deep breath and raise our arms together. And just reach for the sky, protect the shoulders. And then we're just going to do a very gentle forward fold. And we're just going to stretch out this lower back. And breathe there for a second or two. And then come up. All the way up. And all the way down. Couple breaths. Coming back up. Of course, you can stand also if you choose to. And then coming down, bending the knees, and just letting yourself hang. Letting the head hang. Just releasing the day. Bend the knees, coming back up. And exhale, going down. Breathing up. Hands to the hips. And if you're seated, excuse me. If you're seated, so we're just going to, with the left hand, so we're just going to stretch that one side, ready, going up, breathing up. And then looking over our shoulder, or under our shoulder actually, and we're just allowing ourselves to stretch this side out gently. Taking a couple breaths there. Releasing the neck, right? No tension in there. Okay, exhale. Now going up the other way, taking a deep breath on the way up. And again, looking under the armpit is actually, I guess, what I'm doing here. But I'm focusing on stretching and breathing. Feel that stretch in the rib cage when you do that. All right, exhale. All right, just roll the shoulders. Take a deep breath. Up we go. down. Okay, and up on the other side. Inhale. Stretching. Keeping the neck relaxed. Exhale. All right. And let's do a little more twisting action. You can do this in your chair like this, of course. You just need to scooch out so you don't bang your elbows in the back of the chair. All right. I even got Mike up and moving around there. All right. So you may have noticed on the exhale, making that noise. In yoga, they call that the, what is that, Unja? I have to ask Nancy Shriver. Unjai, I think. The idea is to build heat in the body. Excuse me while I tie up my, you're supposed to keep me, safe, Mike. I'm tying up my... So I was tying up my drawstring on my sweatpants. Is what that activity was there. All right. All right, so as we get ourselves situated, so whether you're sitting in a chair or if you have a cushion, I like a cushion because it seems to help me, I don't know, it just seems like I meditate deeper that way. But the main thing is that however we do it, meditate, is that we're just engaged in doing it, right? So welcome. So just get yourself situated, check out your seat. So we're wanting to form a nice solid base, however we're doing it, whether we're in the chair or on the cushion. All right, so let's just start taking a deep breath and exhale as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony here at the center for all of our services to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as we light the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the 9th candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And as we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender, I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God.
So let's just take a breath together. And on that exhale, we're just releasing the cares and concerns of the day and allowing ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we recognize and know together that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life of the divine expressing, impressing itself in, through, and as all of creation, in, through, and as all that we are. And so as we consciously connect with the indwelling presence, we are joined then in thought and in heart. There is an energetic connecting all of us in this moment. As we know together that this evening is unfolding in right and perfect order, that we release any attachment to outcome or what is to come, even as we each within our own heart set an intention for this evening. An evening that is full of peace, harmony, serenity, connectedness, and a power that comes from being still, a clarity, and a deep sense of knowing that all is well. So, taking a deep breath, just releasing this word, the cares, concerns, intentions, joy of anyone watching. I'm just releasing all of it now to that aspect of the mind, of the divine itself, acting as the law of its own being that knows only to say yes. So in deep gratitude and confidence, we release it knowing it is done. It is so, and together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So we're continuing to explore this book, The Infinite Way. I think Mike has a little graphic of that. If you haven't been, you might want to get this book. It's a sweet little book. It's deep, that's for sure. And we're on page 35. I'm not exactly sure where we left off, but I like this paragraph to kick us off with, so off we go. So the pleasures and successes of the world are as nothing compared with the joys and treasures which now unfold to us through spiritual sense. So if you remember, Joel Goldsmith is encouraging us, the readers, to cultivate a way of seeing beyond this material sensory world and to be open to that metaphysical world, the power behind this world. To cultivate our spiritual sense. In the light of truth, the greatest earthly happiness and triumph are as nothing, whereas the treasures of the soul have a glory unknown and unfathomed by sense. Possessing the divine light within him, man gains his freedom from the world and security from all earthly or human dangers. This period holds terrors and fears for many. The spiritually illumined will recognize that because no good can come or go, that because spiritual activity is always of the nature of fulfillment, that because their illumination has revealed the reality of things, they are anchored in soul, in God consciousness, in spiritual peace, security, and serenity. We will fear no change in the outer picture because the outer is but the reflection of the allness within. Safe in the realization that we are individual, though infinite spiritual consciousness embodying all good, we need give no consideration to the evidence of the senses. So he's really calling on us to just detach from what we think we know, to come to the world with a soul sense. That spiritual illumination reveals the harmony of being and dispels the evidence of material sense. So we start to see things, we start to see life and experience life on a deeper level. It does not change anything in the universe, for this is a spiritual universe peopled with children of God, but the illumination changes our concept of the universe. So the truth is there, it's just we are now attuned to it. This is but the beginning of this vast subject, and while we are discussing it, let us keep thought removed as far as possible from the world of sense and anchored in the conscious awareness of spiritual reality. Always there have appeared men bearing the divine message of the presence of God and of the unreality of evil. Buddha of India, Lao Tzu of China, Jesus of Nazareth. These and many others brought the light of truth to men, and always men have interpreted this light as a messenger, failing to see that what they were beholding as a man out there was the light of truth within their own consciousness. He goes on to say something somewhat controversial, right? So in worshiping Jesus, men lost the Christ. In devotion to Jesus, men failed to apprehend the Christ. In seeking good through Jesus, men failed to find the omnipresent Christ in their own consciousness. In every case, the messenger appearing to man is the advent of the Christ in individual consciousness. And when so understood, freedom from personal sense and personal limitations has been attained. Jesus said, If I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. Was this not clear enough for all to understand? If you do not look away from the personal sense of salvation, meditation and guidance, you will not find the great light within your own consciousness. So let's stop there. That's plenty to consider for this evening, eh? I've often thought, and maybe it's not even an original thought, that maybe one of the great teachings of Jesus the Christ is that he brought folks to the Holy Spirit. So that is the one way in which God can be all places at once. Right? So I use God as a placeholder word. So however you experience that notion, that by definition it has all power, is everywhere present, contains or is intelligence, and is always active. And this is the power that we are connecting with and cultivating. So we in the West, so this is an interesting teaching. So what Joel is saying is that if we just cultivate a deep knowing that this is so, then we begin to see how the Spirit expresses. And that all is added unto us without even thinking about it, that our needs are met. The science of mind perspective is that we use the world of stuff and things. We use the power of thought coupled with spiritual connection to demonstrate the stuff and things that we need to support our life. And in that demonstration, then we grow in faith. And we grow in faith to such an extent that we start to see the world with a spiritual sense instead of a material sense. So they really are getting and pointing, Ernest Holmes and Joel Goldsmith, they really are pointing to the same thing. Just taking a different path. So I think for Joel Goldsmith, if I had started reading this stuff before I was really ready, it would have sounded very woo-woo. And yet today, it makes so much sense. and part of that is to not be afraid to go deep. Right? So there's a sweetness in contemplating the nature of the divine. Right? What is the divine? What if it's good and only good? What is good? Emma Curtis Hopkins calls it God the good. Our good is our God. Right? So that's another way of getting this, that it's all substance. Right? It's all substance in form on this plane, but that it's all God. So when we start to see the world in this way, at least my experience, when I can stay focused on this truth, then my life gets a lot calmer, a lot sweeter, and I become I should say, do I become a better human being? Probably. I'd love to claim that it's already in there, but maybe I'm actually becoming. But certainly the spirit, the compassion, the loving kindness, the patience, tolerance, understanding, these things come forth. And my contempt prior to investigation falls away, so that I have a deeper experience of life and everything that is part of that, including you. And that's a good thing. All right, so that's enough. That's enough jibber jabber. Shall we meditate? So if this is your first time, we're getting ready, and you haven't really meditated much, this is a very simple process. It's kind of an adapted Vipassana style in that we are focusing on the breath. Now, what does that mean? We're going to be bringing the breath through the nose, bringing our attention to the inhale, but especially on the exhale. And you'll see that as we get into that, the mind will still. And as the mind begins to still, paying attention to the sensation of the breath in the nostril, see if you can detect it on your upper lip. And then use sensation, like resist the urge to scratch an itch, for instance. And you can actually breathe into that. And as you focus on sensation, then the thinking aspect is quieted. We observe our thoughts like a leaf passing on a stream. And sometimes we'll get hooked by a thought, and then we just take a deep breath, and then just release it, and then return back to the breath. So that's a quick recap. All right, so what do you say we just take a deep conscious breath and exhale, and on that exhale, just let the shoulders drop. Take another deep breath and exhale, and on the exhale, see if you can just release a little more. Taking a deep breath. Hold it at the top, and let's hum this one out. Bring our attention to the breath. Just following the breath. See if you can detect the movement of the breath on the exhale. just going to do a body scan, following the breath. Bring our attention to the feet. Up into the ankles. The calf. The shin bone into the knee. Following the breath. And check the knee, make sure haven't torqued your knee. If you have, just make an adjustment and then breathe into it. And on the exhale, release it. Up the quadricep, into the hamstring, the hamstring up into the sit bones. From our sit bones we're sitting with an erect but relaxed spine. There's no tension in there. And the spine is balanced over the sit bones, and the head balanced on the spine. The tummy rises and falls naturally. Tummy into the chest, chest into the shoulders. Let's take a deep breath here together. And on the release, release the shoulders. Just get a little more room in there. Down the arms. Relaxing the hands. Up the arms into the shoulders again. Staying with the breath. So we're going to take another deep breath, and on the exhale, just allow your face to, the muscles in your face to just totally relax. Deep breath and release. Following the breath. Following the exhale on the upper lip. Bring our attention to the space between the eyebrows, the third eye. And the crown of the head. One more deep breath. Exhale. As we move into the silence now for about 15 minutes. So bringing our attention gently back into the room, staying with the breath. So imagine with me, there is at the heart center a flame of the divine. And with each in-breath, we are fanning that flame. So that this flame grows brighter and more radiant. Growing with each in-breath. And on the exhale, release that which is no longer needed. So we're breathing in the light of the divine, commingling with the light within, taking what is needed, releasing the rest. As this ball of light continues to grow and illuminate and radiate, with each in-breath expanding in the way that, like blowing up a balloon, side to side, top to bottom, front to back, that this ball of light now extends beyond our body torso, that we are sitting in a field of light and love, staying with the breath. Feeling our heart expand, our mind is open, and joining with the breath of others, even feeling a sense of connectedness with others on the meditation tonight, creating together this field of light and love. And so we bring our heart's desire to this field now and speak our word into the field. So I'm just knowing for Alex, Kathy, and Stephen, Michael, that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one light of the divine, impressing and expressing in, through, and as all of life. And that with each in-breath, at an atomic level, we are being activated with a pattern of perfection, a cosmic energetic that is the love of the divine itself, activating every atom, every molecule, every cell, every organ, every muscle, every bone, every sinew, all of it now activated, vibrating, aligning with a pattern of perfection, of radiant good health, of perfect lung function, a circulatory system that is operating at peak performance. The heart is open and activated with a pattern of perfection to right and perfect function. That all the various systems, secretions of the body temple are aligned and activated with this pattern of perfection, so that we are sitting in and experiencing right now radiant good health, that our minds are open and activated, that every wrinkle of our cortex is activated with the light of the divine, that we are experiencing an enlightened mind, that we release any discord or thought storms. We just release all of that now into this light field, and instead experiencing a sense of harmony, of peace, of receptivity to a divine impress of new and dynamic ideas that have within them the solution to any challenge we may be currently facing. That our heart is open, that we are feeling connected to life itself, this connection expressing itself with our beloved, with our co-workers, with those with whom we share the road, with those with whom we share our neighborhood with. Taking a deep breath. Releasing this word, the cares and concerns of anyone watching. Just further knowing that as we move from this time together and prepare for the rest of the evening, that we hit the pillow sleeping deeply, drifting easily off to sleep, sleeping deeply, dreaming sweet dreams, that we awaken feeling refreshed and revitalized, full of vim and vigor and a zest for the day, to experience the goodness of the divine in expression. So we take one more deep breath and release, and with deep gratitude and confidence, release it to that aspect of the mind, the divine itself, that knows only to say yes as the law of its own being, which is infinite. We release it, let it go, let it be so. Together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So we ran a little over tonight. I guess I jabbered a little bit too much at the front end. Hope you enjoyed this meditation. You're welcome to join us on this same YouTube channel at 10:30 on Sundays. If you need prayer support, I'm at revmike@cslgh.org. Just get to the website and you can get our email addresses there. All right? Until then, peace and blessings, sweet dreams, and I'll see you Sunday.